Let's talk about Irenaeus. Irenaeus is a very important theologian from the 2nd century, and he gets brought up anytime somebody is skeptical about the claim that the charismatic gifts have continued from the time of the apostles all the way through history until today. Charismatic continuationists like to point to his book Against Heresies because they think that Irenaeus is saying that these gifts were happening in his day. Here's the Sam Storms article, Spiritual Gifts in Church History, Part 2. So he points to Irenaeus. Irenaeus, AD 120 through 202. That's going to be interesting later. Here's one of the quotes that you'll see quoted all the time by charismatics. Wherefore also those who are in truth his disciples do in his name perform miracles. Some do certainly and truly drive out devils. Others have foreknowledge of things to come. They see visions. They utter prophetic expressions. Others still heal the sick by laying their hands upon them. And then maybe the most interesting part of this, yea, moreover, as I have said, the dead even have been raised up and remained among us for many years. So that's a very interesting quote. It's from around 180 AD. But is it actually saying that in Irenaeus' day, his contemporaries were performing all of these miracles? This is from Against Heresies, Book 2, Chapter 32, Paragraph 4. And here's Paragraph 4. So this starts with, if, however, they maintain that the Lord, too, performed such works simply in appearance. So what the heck is that about? Against Heresies is written mostly against the Gnostic heresy that Irenaeus was seeing in his day. And if we go a paragraph back, we'll see what he's responding to. These Gnostic heretics assert that they possess souls from the same sphere as Jesus, and that they are like him, sometimes even maintaining that they are superior. So these Gnostics are saying that they're basically cut from the same cloth as Jesus, and some of them were even saying that they were superior. And they said that they were able to produce miracles, works, just like Jesus could. Irenaeus says the things that they do couldn't even compare to what Jesus did. It's by means of magic. They strive in this way deceitfully to lead foolish people astray. He says they exhibit phantasms that instantly cease and do not endure even a moment of time. So basically, he's just saying that these Gnostic heretics were saying that they were similar to Jesus and they could perform similar works, and Irenaeus is saying they're not even close. If anything, it was some kind of temporary illusion. So now to our paragraph in question, paragraph 4. If, however, they maintain that the Lord, too, performed such works simply in appearance, in other words, the illusions that the Gnostics were doing, they claim that's what Jesus was doing as well. Irenaeus says, we shall refer them to the prophetic writings and prove from these both that all things were thus predicted, so the Old Testament predicted Jesus regarding him, and did take place undoubtedly. So Irenaeus is going to point to the Old and the New Testament to show that the kinds of works Jesus could do were prophesied, and the New Testament, which says that they actually did take place undoubtedly. Wherefore also those are in truth his disciples receiving grace from him do in his name perform miracles. So through the same means I will also demonstrate that his disciples received grace from him and in his name perform miracles. How is he going to demonstrate this? From the prophetic writings that prove what Jesus was predicted to do and the things that did undoubtedly take place. Irenaeus is going to show from the scriptures that Jesus' true disciples were able to perform miracles. So from the scriptures, we see that they were able to drive out devils. From the scriptures, we see that they had foreknowledge of things to come, that they saw visions, that they uttered prophetic expressions. From the scriptures, we see that they healed the sick by laying their hands on them. And now for that very interesting line, yea, moreover, as I have said, the dead have been raised up and remained with us for many years. So now he's bringing it home. He, or those around him, have witnessed these people that were raised from the dead. So does that demonstrate that in Irenaeus' contemporary time, people were being raised from the dead? It actually proves the opposite. As Sam Storms told us, Irenaeus lived from AD 120 to 202. The last apostle died around 100 AD. But look very closely at what he says here. The dead even have been raised and remained among us for many years. He doesn't say the dead are still being raised. He said this is something that happened in the past, and those people that were raised did remain among us for many years, which would indicate that they've all died now, but they did remain with us for a while. So Irenaeus is saying that he lives among contemporaries who have witnessed or lived alongside some of these people who were raised from the dead by the early church that was recorded in the New Testament. It is fascinating, but it actually proves the opposite of what the Charismatics wanted to prove. So this is all a desperate attempt to connect modern charismaticism to history. They're desperate to build that bridge between the New Testament and themselves so that they can say that the gifts never ceased. But as always, the charismatic dream doesn't actually reflect reality.